Hello and welcome to Bloke on the Range, and I'm here in the shooting shed because it's windy as hell out here in Finland in Hettila, the great shooting centre here, courtesy of the Armoured Brigade. So thank you very much to them for allowing us to be here and shoot, and thank you very much to SRA Etelä-Häme for inviting me to shoot an SRA competition, or SRA in English. And I'm joined here by Jenny Koskimäki and Jari, who is CEO of Varusteleka, and it's come up around brutality themes we've dealt with on the channel. The sort of core group of the ROs and the shooters are already competing in SRA here in Finland, and it's quite a unique multi-gun practical shooting discipline. So if you guys would like to sort of give the basics.
Well, SRA or SRA stands for sovellettu reserviläisammunta. You can try that.
Don't make me try and pronounce that.
And it's basically a dynamic shooting sport derived from IPSC practical shooting, and it's meant for mainly reservists, but also civilians shoot SRA in Finland.
Yeah, so kind of nowadays it's mostly focusing on rifle and pistol, which are the dominant service weapons, but also unfortunately there are still some shotgun stages as well. But the idea that while designing the stages they would somehow have a connection to scenarios what you might have in a military setting.
The stage briefings, they often tell a story, like your enemy is coming from there and you have to do this and this and beep.
So this is a sort of major departure from the sort of abstract solving a shooting problem thing that IPSC has become over the years. When you go back to the roots, they were sort of self-defense scenarios. But what's quite interesting here is that it's very anchored in a military context. So it's sort of taken it back to its roots, but then in a slightly different direction. And you'll notice that we're all sitting here wearing camouflage to some degree, which is again another distinction from IPSC, which presents itself as pure sport. And this is in fact the first time I have shot a match with any camo on, and there's only one person on the planet that could have done it. He only had to pull out 3 fingernails and tighten the thumb screws halfway. So I didn't need that much convincing. But I find that very interesting because it's such a big departure, and it's supported by the military, isn't it?
It is, because the Finnish Defence Forces is like the base is in our reservists, capable reservists. So this is a safe way to practice shooting skills and gun handling skills.
Yeah. So as we are here in Armoured Brigade's shooting ranges, same goes in other parts of Finland, that most of the bases are supporting this type of events, that you get the access to the ranges, which are military ranges, and they are pretty cool with that.
It's interesting that the Finnish Defence Forces are supporting a much more modern, dynamic form of shooting, because in Switzerland, where I live, they support sort of static 300-meter shooting, and this is it's a hundreds of year old tradition. The idea being that conscripts in their own time, because I mean it's a similar conscription based. It's similar but not the same. And the idea in Switzerland is that people would keep their marksmanship up to a basic standard themselves on a village 300-meter range, whereas this is a much more modern view and much more focused around modern shooting techniques.
Yeah.
So can we take a little tangent and explain how the Finnish military works a little bit?
Well, not going into nitty-gritty details, but we have a universal service, so it's a mandatory for the males to do the service, either the military service or then the kind of a service without the weapon. I don't know what's the English word, but anyway,
civil
service,
civil equivalent,
yeah. So that's the basic setup, and for women it's kind of that they can opt in.
It's a voluntary for women, and for the first 45 days you can choose to leave without explanation. But after the 45th day, it's compulsory for you to be there.
And most of the age class is from the guys are going to some type of service. Most of them go to the military service, some part go to the civil service, and there's a constantly increasing number of women to go in the service. I think they had the record year last year or this year.
I think the last like 5 to 10 years have been record years. Each after another. There's popular Finnish TV shows showcasing female soldiers, and so I think that's made a big difference.
So an average conscript joins at what age?
18
to 20, maybe.
18 to 20 is typical. Then if there are every now and then somebody who has got the place in a university, they do their studies and then they go into service like 24 or something, and then they regret it. Why did they do that way?
And sort of basic training lasts how long?
Well, it's like you can be there for 6 months is the minimum, and that's divided into parts. And the first 8 weeks are the same for everyone, and after that you choose like what do you want to, what your expertise is gonna be, and then the NCOs and the reserve officers, and for example drivers and some other
specialty.
They serve to 9 to 12 months.
Okay, so after that 6, 9, 12 month period, so how many days a year are there repeat courses?
That depends a lot of what was your kind of specialty, whether you are a trooper or NCO or reserve officer. But I would say that if you are in infantry and NCO, you could expect to have 1 or 2 like the mandatory exercises per year. And then there is a system for volunteer exercises where you are not ordered, but it is expected that you are coming.
And is it paid or is it?
There's a small pay, but much of it, the reservist activities are based on voluntary work.
Okay. Interesting. And service lasts until what age typically?
Is it 60?
60 or 65 is like the hard stop, but especially if you think about the infantry roles, and if you are a trooper or NCO, usually they start kicking you out when you are 35, 45, and then they supplement from the younger age classes. But all the Finnish citizens are expected to defend the country, and kind of you are in a deep reserve until 60 or 65.
Yeah, that's actually in our constitution.
Oh wow, cool. So this presumably feeds back into the sport because of people getting introduced to shooting via the service. So back at the SRA plot, the requirements, the hoops that I've had to jump through to shoot the match. Theory course, which I did remotely with a written test. Did a practical test yesterday that you took me through. Apparently I did okay.
Yeah, you passed.
Yay. And being a member of a reserve organisation, or if I remember rightly, or some similarly associated organisation, which is how they
and
worked
then
me in.
Insurance for shooting.
Yeah. I just take that as read because Switzerland is a group of insurance companies with a country attached.
Yeah.
So and the shooting tests that we did, and I'll insert some of the footage. Some of it is actually quite challenging.
They weren't challenging for you, but they might be challenging for someone who's new to pistol.
Exactly. Some of the early exercises as a sort of 5-second guideline to do it, and I was over 4 because I wasn't rushing it. But for a newbie who's maybe knows how to shoot a pistol on a static range, to then, with their first experience of dynamic, dealing with holster and everything you've got to think about to do, that's challenging. But I think you said it serves to get the people who are going to be a problem or have a problem, get them to make a problem early on in a safe environment. And I think it's a well constructed test, but it's mostly pistol with only a bit of rifle.
Yeah, pistol has a short barrel, so it's easier to be unsafe with the pistol. So that's why most of the test is focused on pistol.
Yeah. So I think that's about it. Are there any other points either of you wish to mention?
Also, foreigners can come and shoot SRA.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be Finnish reservist or civilian. You can also come here, just talk with us, and we'll organize something.
Jump through the hoops and...
and SRA is also becoming international sport now.
Oh.
Yeah, we're starting Liitto,
Yeah, there's an association.
international association for SRA. So you can expect this to spread.
We'll try and get it set up in Switzerland, but we won't be allowed to wear camo if we're on military ranges, because in Switzerland the military wants it to be absolutely clear to idiots walking their dogs, whether it's military personnel or civilians. So not allowed to wear camo. Anyway, thank you guys so much. These two have organised 99% of my presence here, so thank you both so much for that. And thank you very much to patrons who have funded this, and thank you again to the Armoured Brigade for use of their facilities. And sorry there's not so much of a view, but it's really windy. Like we were checking 0 earlier, and the wind's coming left and right, and with 223 at 300 meters, it was, groups gone left, groups gone right, groups horizontal, and there's no wind flags. Anyway, so loads more content on this topic to come, and thanks for watching. So bye.